Government means control. This phrase may seem simple, but it holds a deep and complex meaning. In a nation, the government is responsible for controlling and managing the various institutions and faculties that exist within its borders. This control is necessary to ensure that these institutions operate in line with the values and principles of the nation. However, what happens when financial institutions like banks and corporations are outside the control of the government? What are the consequences of this power imbalance? These questions have become increasingly relevant as we see financial institutions gaining more influence and control in our society. The concept of government means control can be traced back to the very foundation of modern societies. From ancient civilizations to modern democracies, governments have always played a crucial role in controlling and regulating various aspects of society. The idea behind this is to maintain order and ensure that all citizens can coexist peacefully within the nation's boundaries. However, as society evolved, so did the power dynamics between government and other institutions, particularly financial institutions. In today's world, banks and corporations hold immense power and influence. They control large sums of money and have the ability to sway governments and shape policies. This has resulted in a power imbalance where financial institutions dictate their desires to governmental faculties, often at the expense of the nation's values and principles. When this happens, it becomes a dangerous game of control where the government loses its authority and the interests of the people are compromised. The consequences of this power imbalance are far-reaching and can have severe repercussions on society. One of the most noticeable effects is the disparity between the rich and poor. When corporations hold more power than the government, they can influence policies that favor their interests, leading to an unequal distribution of wealth. This widens the gap between the wealthy elite and the rest of society, leading to social unrest and discontent. Moreover, when financial institutions are outside the control of the government, they can indulge in unethical practices without any consequences. For instance, during the 2008 financial crisis, it was the unregulated actions of banks and corporations that led to the collapse of the global economy. This crisis not only affected the financial stability of nations, but also resulted in a loss of trust in these institutions. The government, being powerless to regulate these institutions, had to use taxpayers' money to bail them out, further exacerbating the divide between the rich and poor. Famous quotes have been made about this topic, highlighting the dangers of financial institutions having unchecked power. One such quote is by former U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who said, "Government by organized money is just as dangerous as government by organized mob." This statement perfectly captures the issue at hand. When financial institutions control the government instead of the other way around, it becomes a danger to society. Another famous quote by former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt states, "Behind the ostensible government sits enthroned an invisible government owing no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people." This quote emphasizes how financial institutions can hold more power than the visible government, operating behind closed doors and influencing policies that benefit their interests. So, what controls us when we cannot criticize what has so much power over us? The answer is simple: fear. The fear of retaliation from these powerful institutions keeps governments from taking necessary steps to regulate them. In some cases, these institutions even have control over media outlets, making it difficult for citizens to voice their concerns and hold them accountable. In conclusion, the concept of government means control is essential for a society to function harmoniously. However, when financial institutions hold more power than the government and dictate their wishes, it becomes a dangerous game that can have severe consequences for society. It is crucial for governments to maintain their authority and regulate these institutions to ensure that they operate in line with the nation's values and principles. As citizens, it is our responsibility to hold our governments accountable and demand a fair and just system where power is not concentrated in the hands of a few. As American journalist and social critic Upton Sinclair once said, "It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it." We must break free from this cycle of fear and demand a government that truly means control. KIK, knowledge is king. Get into the know. Peace to the conscious minds, the righteous hearts, and those who want to see.